Welcome to NewtoMedia, where we connect you to the best service professionals and help you learn about great experiences all over the world.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Again, Zack Cockfield with NewtoMedia. I'm excited to have Leon Mallett from Title Connect with us today. Leon, I'm so excited that you're going to show us what's going on in Detroit, Michigan. How are you today?
I'm great, Zach. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm so glad you could be with us. Leon and I have been talking for a little while, and Leon took the opportunity to not only show what's going on in Detroit, but he wanted to make sure that the realtors in his area knew about the opportunity to be on the Newto podcast. And so we're going to take a moment to make sure that folks are seeing what they can do for free when they participate on the Newto podcast. Leon, I really appreciate that you gave us a ton of great information about a city that I know has been going through a rebirth for a little while. I know years ago, Detroit was going through some challenges because the auto industry had some tough times. And I think for the last decade, Detroit has been going through a little bit of a renaissance. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what's going on in Detroit?
Yeah, so as most people know, in the late 2000s, when the whole financial market crashed in the country, the city of Detroit was hit harder than pretty much most places in the country. The city in itself actually filed for bankruptcy, which to this day is the largest municipality that has filed for bankruptcy in the history of this country. It was a lot of downturn, a lot of just terrible things going on based just on how the structure of things went. Luckily, and I'm going to give him credit, Mr. Dan Gilbert decided to take an investment into the downtown area. And as everybody knows, the downtown is the heartbeat of every city. And
Absolutely.
He did a lot of revitalization, starting with moving his headquarters of what at that time was Quicken Loans, which is now Rocket Mortgage, to downtown. They moved their headquarters downtown. In doing so, he obviously wanted to make sure that his employees had a viable work area to work in. So he invested more into security, parking structures, and different things of that nature, as well as a lot of those buildings down there that were vacant, particularly skyscrapers, because businesses were moving out. He ended up buying a lot of those and ultimately renovating them and then moving businesses into them. And slowly for surely, since that point in time, downtown has really been growing, which ultimately has had an effect on, the rest of the city being able to capitalize on that revitalization. Now, is every part back to 100%? Not necessarily, but based on where it was from that time frame, the city's come a long, long way.
Oh yeah, I'll bet some of those investments that were made during the toughest times are looking pretty good right now too.
Yeah, when you can buy a skyscraper for $250,000,
that's
and then renovate it out, put some businesses in, you got a pretty good ROI.
That's unbelievable. Well, that's what great investors do. Well, fantastic. We're going to get into a little bit more of your business in just a few minutes, but before we do, I had to give the audience a chance to learn more about Leon, especially some of these family pictures that you shared. I mean, you got to tell me who's this handsome little guy right here?
That's my little cousin King. I have a family full of women. Starting with, I'll just take it back. Starting with my grandma's side, my grandma had 2 children, which was my mom and my aunt.
Mm-hmm.
My mom ultimately had 4 children, 2 girls first and then 2 boys. I was the youngest.
Right.
And then my aunt, she had 1 daughter, which was my cousin Snow, my first cousin. And then ultimately she had 5 daughters. And then one of her daughters had a son. So all those women were pretty much born in between him and myself. So we are the last male descendants of my family on my grandma's side, 32 years apart. So it was good to finally get another male in the family. So
That's
my
great. Man,
yes.
you guys are definitely outnumbered. So
Yes, 100%.
some girl power in that family. All
Yeah.
right. Good stuff. And then we've got some other pictures here. Tell us, who's this?
That is my goddaughter Simone. That is after one of her ballet recitals out in
Wow.
Lansing.
Uh-huh.
She did an outstanding job, and that's me, her father, and her uncle just gathered around her to celebrate the outstanding performance that she did at her ballet recital.
That is fantastic. What way to support that young lady. Okay. And this is another great picture that you share. This is some of your buddies. Who's this crew?
Yeah, so my guy Nick Dunford in the middle, that is at his wedding, which I was obviously part of the wedding party, and we're just trying to get our suave look on, if you will,
Yeah.
for the party pictures at his wedding. So
you guys actually absolutely pulled it off. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And,
yes.
and now let's see. Now we're going to shift over to some of the fun stuff. I think you had even made a reference to the train station and the show prep. Tell us about this.
Okay, so the Detroit Central train station, it closed down, I believe, back in 1984, 86. Again, Detroit was a vibrant city, but a lot of hard times hit over the last couple of decades. But
right.
The train station got closed down, I believe, in 86, and it's been closed ever since. And luckily, Ford stepped up and decided to, put in a renovation of the building and open it back up for operations. So that happened back in June, and there was a concert to celebrate it. And the concert featured the likes of, Diana Ross, Big Sean, headlined by Eminem, which are, obviously
this guy here.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Mr. Eminem, who headlined it. So those are all Detroit legends from, Diana Ross all the way up to Eminem. But there also was some other artists as far as, your Jelly Rolls, Common, Fantasia, and some others that have performed there as well. So it was a very star-studded event to celebrate the reopening of a historic site in Detroit. And, it was a great, great time. It was actually broadcast on TV. So a lot of people across the country may have actually already seen it, but it was an outstanding event that showcased, like I said, part of the revitalization of Detroit.
That's great. It's great to have companies that are stepping up like that to make a difference in the community. Okay, we're gonna transition over to a few more relaxing or different things to take part in Detroit. I have not fished for a little while, but I love to fish. And I think there's, even if, what do they say? Even a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work, right? So,
100%.
So you can absolutely take part in some outdoor activities. We also have some great pictures of the riverfront. So I think that's a great shot. I don't know if you took that, but that's a great shot, Leon.
Yeah, the Detroit riverfront. It's right downtown, and it's literally right across from Canada. So Windsor's right across the water. If you go back to that other picture where the gentleman's fishing, you'll see right across the water. You'll see some buildings. That's Windsor, Canada, which is right across. So, like I said, as far as downtown riverfront, it's definitely one of the more viable tourist attractions. Again, like I said, as the revitalization of downtown comes, so does the rest of the city. So yeah, downtown is immensely great, especially from the first time when I moved out to Detroit. Ultimately, which is first time I ever visited Detroit was back in the early 2000s when I was in college. And from then to now, it's just an immense difference. And like I said,
I'm sure it is.
The river walk in downtown is great.
Now, that building on the left, is that a restaurant? I can't. That's a crazy shape on that.
Are you talking about the GM building, the tall one, or?
No, I'm talking about the. It almost looks like a circus type thing.
Oh, that's a merry-go-round. I believe that's a merry-go-round.
Oh, a merry-go-round. Okay, I didn't have a good look at it. Okay, my mistake.
I thought you were talking about the big building in the back, that tall building in the back. That's the GM tower.
Absolutely. No, you're right. That is a merry-go-round. Fantastic. Okay, shifting over to a topic that I'm very invested in, at least for fantasy football. Got to talk about the Ford Field and the Lions. Have you been to many Lions games since you've lived in Detroit?
Most of the time I go to just the Seahawks games because obviously I'm born and raised in Seattle.
Oh, you did say that. Yep.
Yep. But I've been in Michigan my whole adult life after I came out here to go to college. So all the games that I've typically gone to have been Seahawks. There have been some other ones in here and there that I've went to that have non-Seahawks games, but every time the Seahawks.
I don't know if these Lion fans are going to forgive you for that, man. But we should have cut that part. We're going to edit that part.
Oh yeah, sorry. No hard feelings. We actually love the Lions. We've kind of grown. Every time we play the Lions, it's a very, very competitive game. So we've actually gained a lot of respect for them. So they're kind of like our non-divisional rivals almost in a sense.
Yeah.
But a lot of mutual respect between both teams.
No, but both great teams.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, another topic still related to football. Another thing that has been going on in Detroit or happened, I think it was this year, right? That they had the draft.
Yes, the NFL draft came to Detroit in April, and it was record breaking. The previous
I watched a lot of it on TV this year. It was great.
Yes,
it was great.
I was down there live myself, and it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Ultimately, the previous record was set in Nashville, I think back in 2019 of 600,000. Detroit topped that at 700,000. The first night alone, their previous record was 200,000, which is the night that most people come. Detroit had a record of 275,000 on the first night, and that didn't even include the 80 or 90,000 or so that had to get turned away. If they could have all gotten in, that number would have been even bigger.
That's awesome. Way to come out, Detroit.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Transitioning a little bit to my favorite topic on the New To podcast, the food. So Leon brought us a couple really good examples to show. Leon brought us a kind of a high-end, fancy option for that special date at the London Chop House. You want to tell us about London Chop House?
Yes, London Chop House is a steakhouse in downtown Detroit. Very, very high-end, high quality. It's the type of place where you would go, let's say, on an anniversary or a special night out with your significant other. They have outstanding steaks, as you can see, as well as some seafood options as well. Yes, indeed. They make their own in-house sauce as well. Not to say that I don't like A1. A1's great. But to have their in-house sauces on top of that steak is something that you won't forget. So I always tell people, if you get a chance to come to Detroit, definitely go to the Chop House for sure.
Oh man, it is going to happen. It's going down when I get to Detroit. I am going.
Oh yes.
Lori, get ready. We're going to the Chop House, baby.
Indeed.
All right,
yes.
and for that little bit more casual, just meal after the game or before the game. You got to tell us where this place is. Where is this?
This is Buddy's Pizza, Buddy's Detroit style pizza. So when it comes to Detroit, they have what are known as the square pizzas. I've known that a lot of places sometimes call it deep dish in other places. But basically it's the 8 square pizza. And it has typically has your sauce on the top. And Buddy's is the original founder of the Detroit style pizza, which Buddy's started, I believe, in 1945. Buddy's has locations throughout Metro Detroit. I guess you can almost call it a chain in a sense, but it's the staple as far as when it comes to.
Well, we're going to let it slide. We'll allow a chain if it's local to your city. If it's founded there, if it was founded in your city, we're going to allow it. So that is super cool. That is super cool.
I brought my sister out here from Seattle and took her there. She said that's the best pizza she's ever had in her life. So
really,
yes, Buddy's is a staple for sure.
That is so cool. And I know that Michigan, if I recall, is home to like 2 or 3 of the big chains. I mean, I think Little Caesars, Papa John's, Domino's too. Aren't they all from Michigan?
Yep, Little Caesars, Detroit. Domino's is based out of Ann Arbor.
Yep.
And I don't think Papa John's is it. Papa John's is from Kentucky.
Oh,
but
okay.
as far as the
Right.
two big ones, it's
Yeah.
Little Caesars and Domino's.
Fantastic.
Detroit,
That's
yeah. Pizza City.
good stuff. No, I mean, I love pizza. I could do pizza every day. So
Yes.
that's great. All right. Well, we're going to transition a little bit. That was a fantastic, summary of some things that you've got to take part in when you're in Detroit. And we'll transition to business for just a second, because for those of you that are thinking about moving to Detroit, or you're thinking about moving to a different part of the Detroit area, or maybe you're in the industry, if you're a realtor that's you know considering the business partners that you work with, we wanted to obviously talk a little bit about Title Connect and how they help. I know a little bit about title insurance in that title insurance helps you to protect against unknown activity on your title, which can even be fraud. I know there's been a lot more fraud on titles in the last decade, but I think sometimes it helps for people to have a picture in their mind of examples of things that have actually happened. Can you give us a couple examples of the types of situations that you're going to protect people against?
Absolutely. So when it comes to title insurance, just like any other insurance, what you're doing is you're transferring the risk from you, the consumer, ultimately to the title company. So when it comes to title is basically who has the enjoyment of right to the property at the end of the day. So basically what title insurance does is it makes sure that anybody who is in the line of ownership and when they make a home purchase is viable and has the opportunity to own that home without having any type of encumbrances that fall on it.
Exactly.
The biggest issue that I've seen pop up sometimes is where people have liens that they may not have knew about. Where let's just say, for instance, back in 10 years ago, somebody had a contractor do some work on the house.
Yeah.
And for some reason or another, that person didn't compensate the contractor. The contractor at that point in time could put a lien on the property, which is basically a right to have ownership interest in that property until they're compensated for whatever it is that they're supposed to be paid for.
Right.
Ultimately, that lien goes with the house. And let's just say, for instance, that person tries to sell the house, 10 years later. And for some reason or another, during a title search pops up, they didn't see that lien was on there. That person goes through with the sale of their house to the next buyer. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, that buyer potentially can say, or when the buyer buys the home, that person who had that lien on the house can say, hey, I had a lien on this house from 10 years ago. I never was compensated. I actually have technically rights to this home, which in the sense of it, they potentially do because they have that lien on it. So what the title insurance does is it, let's say you took a mortgage out, you're still going to be responsible for that mortgage, even if you have to give that home up because of something that was on the title. The title insurance is going to be able to put you in a position to pay off your mortgage, as well as take care of any type of legal fees that you may transpire when you're going through the legal fee of trying to fight for, obviously, to keep your home because of this lien situation. So when it comes to title insurance, like I said, it's more in the sense of just like any other insurance, your car insurance, your health insurance. You don't plan on getting into a car accident, but just in case you do happen to get into a car accident, you are protected and have, coverage to be able to take on any expenses that you have to be able to get through that.
Absolutely. And so just to take it a step further for those realtors that are making those decisions on the title insurance companies that they partner with, what would be one of the differences in working with Title Connect? Why would they connect with you instead of another title insurance company?
Well, when it comes to Title Connect here, it's easy for us to ask a realtor for business, and obviously it's easy for them to give it to us. What we focus on here is how do we bring value to our clients? Our ultimate goal is to help you find ways to grow your business. So ultimately, if you grow your business, you're going to reciprocate that back to us, so it helps us as well. So we don't focus on necessarily with their hand out saying, hey, give us your business, give us your business. When we approach our clients, our approach is, what can we do to help you? Do you need assistance as far as maybe us helping you put on a home buyer seminar? Do you need assistance with some lead generation? And we give you access to a software program that we have that helps you generate leads. Do you need help with your marketing? We have a content engine that we provide that allows them to be able to promote their listings, open houses, staying in front of previous, borrowers to make sure that, when they're looking to buy again, they're front of mind, and just different tools like that we give complimentary, at no cost, to be able to help them grow their business. And like I said, ultimately us helping them is a way of helping us, because that loyalty comes back at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I think you had also mentioned that your technology makes it really simple for them. So that's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Super. All right. Well, Leon, I want to thank you for taking the time to introduce your work and introduce Title Connect and help us to learn more about Detroit. I think for the people that are thinking about moving to Detroit, they're going to find this really helpful. And you can, of course, get connected to Leon by going to his link below. We're always going to have the affiliate links for our guests below the podcast on the social media where we're sharing it, or if you're finding us in a blog, check out the link so we can get you connected to Leon. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I hope it's a great rest of the week. Leon, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Zach. I much appreciate it.